Banting was also a believer of this very, not true, not scientifically backed idea that being overweight was a personal problem. It wasn't hereditary. And if you had enough willpower, you could will the fat away.
Being in shape or eating less isn't possible. Sorry, it's just genetics. You will forever be fat-bound by the girl who draws on her eyebrows with Sharpie pen.
Plus-size fit model named Janice lost weight because she got a retainer to fix her teeth, and because the dentist told her she would have to brush her teeth every time she ate before putting the retainer back in her mouth. She just ate less because it became such an inconvenience. And because of that, she lost 20 pounds in a series of weeks.
Turns out it's not just genetics, and I'm disappointed because I thought we were going to study these fat people that magically retain their weight no matter what they do in order to solve world hunger. But thanks anyway, Mina Lay, for demystifying for us how losing weight works. Mina Lay has over 1.3 million subscribers and is part of this genre of woke video essay YouTubers who make videos on researching trending topics. You'll know when it's one of these commie video essay YouTuber girlies in your feed by them looking at you with a disapproving pout or condescending look for not knowing that the thing you do or watch is actually problematic. As you click their video to find out if the latest TikTok trend is racist or something, you'll be greeted by the sentiment of fuck capitalism. Anyway, today's video is sponsored by Squarespace.
What is the problem, you may ask?
Capitalism.
This video is brought to you by Squarespace.
Video essays do have their place. They can be informative and entertaining. I would consider this video a video essay technically. But in this sect of YouTube, they push communist ideology that demotivates the viewer into being a loser.
Not only are marginalized people more likely to suffer from mental health issues, they are less likely to be able to afford to get better. These authors also analyzed data from a 10-year survey and found that people ages 18 to 28 who experience consistent short or long-term discrimination are 25% more likely to experience psychological distress, to be diagnosed with a mental illness, or to report excessive drug use.
Saying things like you're doomed if you're a minority because of XYZ statistic that is therefore systematically oppressing you. So basically, if you turn out a loser, you can just give up and cope and blame someone else for it, usually some sort of systematic oppression or a certain race, whatever the case may be.
US's national public healthcare system leaves very, very few options for culturally competent care. Only 3% of the country's psychology workforce is Black. You know, this confidence deficit is a systemic issue. There are systemic reasons for why people are low confident.
Mina Lay has a consistent pattern of teaching people, encouraging them even, to blame everything but themselves instead of encouraging them to help themselves in areas that they actually have control over. The way that Mina Lay does her videos ensures that all of us continue to fight with one another, because YouTubers like Mina Lay will take videos about trending topics and somehow spin it into something about racism or oppression, etc. For example, what would you think that self-improvement and dieting have in common? Racism. Oh, you thought you were gonna watch a video about dolls? How about some girl with Sharpie pen eyebrows complaining to you about capitalism instead?
Barbie's Dolls of the World line are a collection of 91 dolls, and on a less capitalistic level, folk dolls around the world have also been used to preserve historical cultural dress.
In her video about dieting, she does mention racism and even throws in a little sprinkle of fat phobia in there.
This very, not true, not scientifically backed idea that being overweight was a personal problem. It wasn't hereditary, and if you had enough willpower, you could will the fat away.
She takes something that is quite literally the physical manifestation of laziness and somehow writes it away as if it just magically happened. Mina Lay herself has acknowledged that the concept of less calories in, more calories out is a working concept.
She just ate less because it became such an inconvenience. And because of that, she lost 20 pounds in a series of weeks.
Teaching your audience of 1.3 million subscribers, including some of which are children, the philosophy of being a victim of your own circumstances is one of the worst philosophies that you could ever teach them. That is life-ruining. It's much more empowering to show people that they have a choice and control over their lives. But instead, Mina Lay demonstrates to them that they are victims and rendered powerless. A lot of what I get from her content is self-victimization, followed by using shallow buzzwords as an explanation.
These companies do not address the systemic issues, systemic oppression, marginalized people, marginalization. There is like a gender pay gap, very elitist and classist, fatphobic, transphobia, very conservative, and probably still very racist.
In fact, Minalay says buzzwords so often that in the research of this video, I went through her videography, so to speak, and all I had to do was Control F to search for the term racist or phobia in her transcript. And without fail, it would pop up no matter what the topic was. And if not that, some other buzzword. Considering this, it's interesting that she speaks out against woke washing.
Woke washing, similar to greenwashing and pinkwashing, is a type of performative capitalism. Companies these days often brand themselves as being woke, either by posting like a Black Lives Matter post or by showing a diverse range of models in their ad campaigns, because they know being more progressive is monetizable these days.
Pride Month is actually a great example of the performative wokeness that she's speaking on.
The whole stock market looked around and said, hey, gay people have money. Convince gay people to come to your stores.
Anyone with over one brain cell working overtime knows that a company changing a logo into a rainbow theme and selling tacky merch isn't saving anybody's life. What would actually help is companies like BlackRock and Vanguard to stop inflating the price of everything so that we can't even afford to buy ourselves food at the grocery store, and we also can't really afford housing.
This is all a fucking distraction. Oh, I don't drink Coke because Coke went woke. I only drink RC Cola. It's all the same company, you dumb fucks. What label do you want it to be? Red or blue? They're all owned by fucking BlackRock and Vanguard.
BlackRock and Vanguard, along with other companies, have insane amounts of control over most goods and services. It effectively acts like a monopoly.
When we're talking about private equity, we're talking about people like Blackstone, who've been buying up single-family homes and making the prices completely unaffordable for all of us.
Everyone having a reasonable amount of access to healthy foods and homes that are actually affordable, which they are not right now, would impact the culture so much more than arguing over if something is offensive or not. Unfortunately, I can't give Minalay full credit because despite her speaking on corporations doing woke washing, she focuses too much on things like forced diversity, taking attention away from the more important topic. And she does this, for example, in her video on Sex and the City, the new one that came out.
Did I think the woke stuff was a little cringy? Yes. Yes, I did.
Woke moment!
It did make me feel a little weird that every side character introduced was a person of color. And personally, I think as long as the POC characters get their own fleshed out storylines, like they're handled as like actual people and not just as white girl's best friend or white girl's love interest, then it's totally fine. We're definitely still towing the line with the side characters not having the most fleshed out storylines.
In this same video, where Minalay is complaining about the lack of essentially what is forced diversity, she also complains when Sex and the City in the past had done that exact thing she's asking for, and she called it racist.
Second Sex and the City film, which we will never talk about because it was so racist and just objectively really, really bad.
And there in the middle of old Abu Dhabi was an old love.
So her messaging isn't really clear, and I think it's her lack of discernment to be able to tell the difference from actual diversity and forced diversity. An example of forced diversity would be like The Little Mermaid. And that's because essentially they couldn't give a black girl her own movie. Versus a movie like Princess Tiana, where Disney gave her her own movie, her own thing. That's actual diversity. I think that Minalay and the channels like her in this commie video essay sect of YouTube should just stay on target and speak more on the corporations that are making life really hard for us. Where are the priorities? What is it going to matter if something's offensive or not? Like, you're gonna be homeless complaining about racist comments on the internet. I will gladly take someone making a fried chicken joke at me and actually be able to afford to eat the fried chicken. And that's not to say we can't have fun and a little trolling on the internet, but we have to have our priorities and not have that be the main focus. Like, we have discussed enough times by now if something is racist or not. It's done. But no, apparently what's the most pressing issue right now is white girls drinking matcha lattes on TikTok.
The desire for self-improvement gave rise to the that girl trend. These girls would film themselves waking up at 5 a.m., going on runs, doing Pilates in the morning, drinking green smoothies, all while looking absolutely amazing. A lot of people also felt very uninspired because they felt like the trend was inaccessible for people who were not white, skinny, or at least upper middle class.
And apparently this is such a crisis, such a pressing issue, that she has addressed this in at least 4 of her videos.
The insistence of the that girl trope, waking up at 5 a.m., to do Pilates, doing Pilates in the morning. She does Pilates in the morning, drinking green smoothies, drinking green juices, green smoothies, green juices, matcha lattes.
Seems like a personal problem. You white girls and your matcha lattes, you better stop drinking them and making everyone else feel bad, or Mina Lei's gonna come and shrink your eyebrows.
That can push a counter movement of girls who feel like they can never achieve that.
I'm back with my matcha latte. I literally just made it. But yeah, anyway, getting up early to do Pilates and drinking matcha lattes is so unachievable.
Self-care is also heavily tied in with spending money, like buying detox teas, $30 fitness classes, green smoothies, green juices, matcha lattes.
I don't know why Mina Lei thinks that you have to spend $8 at Starbucks in order to get a matcha latte. Matcha lattes aren't unobtainable because you're not white enough or because of capitalism. They're unobtainable because you couldn't figure out how to type in how to make a matcha latte on TikTok and learn how to make it for less than $1. And it takes minimal effort to make. It's not a difficult drink. And you also don't have to spend $30 on Pilates classes either. There are unlimited free YouTube videos that will teach you how to work out. It costs nothing to get up early and be skinny. Mina Lei should like that. She likes free things. And apparently not being able to find the discipline to get up early in the morning, to lose weight, or to make a $1 matcha latte is the reason that being a woman sucks.
You know, one thing's for sure, it still sucks to be a woman.
I could think of 100 other reasons of why being a woman sucks, one of which is happening to me right now. And by the way, this that girl trend that she's crapping on for being racist and unachievable, she's used that hashtag herself in multiple of her TikToks.
Okay, one awesome thing that I've learned about working for myself is that I don't need to follow any kind of male designated business etiquette. Like, I'm gonna use emojis when I answer your emails.
She's so quirky. Speaking of her TikTok, a lot of her TikTok, she showcases her fashion. And of course, Mina Lei has to make fashion political and turn it into something about racism. She'll say that dressing like a ballerina, ballet corps, is racist because when she went on Pinterest, there were pictures of white girls in tutus.
You know, ballet corps does have its downsides. When I was going through Pinterest boards of this aesthetic, I couldn't help but wonder, why are all the photos of white women? And look, I don't think it's a shock to anyone that ballet has a very racist history.
She's mad at white girls for doing ballet. First it's drinking matcha, now it's for doing ballet. It's not the white girl's fault if girls of other races don't post enough pictures of them wearing tutus on the internet. Maybe a lot of white people like ballet. You don't see men complaining about pictures of basketball players and there not being enough white guys. For someone that's so dictatorial on what fashion is too racist or not, she sure does not dress herself that well. I get that she's supposed to be doing some sort of high fashion, hipster, avant-garde thing and referencing the 20s era with her eyebrows and makeup, but I don't care. It doesn't look good. Just because you intentionally reference something does not automatically make it good. Beauty and fashion and art still have the concept of balance, and there is still structure to it, even if it is creative. If you went to a plastic surgeon who worked on your face and you came out looking like this, nobody is gonna be like, Oh, you just don't get it. It's a early 2000s Playboy reference. I'm trying to look like one of the Play Bunnies. Just like that photo where it looks very unbalanced, Mina's eyebrows throw her face out of harmony. It's the first thing you notice on her face along with her loud patchy eyeshadow. Doing this is distracting from her attractive features. In this photo where her eyebrows are thicker, you can see that her face already looks more balanced versus her usual look. And here's some professional editing done by me to demonstrate my point further. Eyebrows frame your entire face, and having eyebrows that don't fit your face is like having glasses that are the wrong shape for your face. Different shaped glasses complement different face shapes. If you were to break your face up into equal thirds, most people will notice that at least one of the thirds is smaller or bigger than the other 2/3. You want to make your face look as equal as possible, and you can do that by utilizing the size or shape of your glasses. In women, for example, if you have a longer mid-face, you might want to wear bigger glasses because it'll shorten your mid-face and give you more of a doll-like appearance. Balance is very important in fashion. You can see Minale trying different pieces with this outfit here, and she looks like when you go shopping and the dressing rooms are closed, so you have to try on your clothes in the middle of the store. And she really has no excuse. She looks rather petite and skinny, which is the easiest body type to dress for. She's emphasizing the wrong parts of her body. She's doing the equivalent of a straight guy highlighting his hips. It just looks out of place, and it sticks out like a sore thumb. Your silhouette or the shape of your outfit can make you look fatter or skinnier. I did some professional editing for you guys along with a few variations to demonstrate my point. Layering is another factor that affects your outfit's silhouette. In this outfit, she looks pretty good, and I really like her sleeves. Her silhouette looks very balanced. Nothing is too big or too small. Minale says that she gets most of her clothing from thrifting because it helps prevent overconsumption and because it's cheaper.
I really believe fashion is a great creative medium for everyone. That's kind of why I encourage thrifting or buying secondhand. Full transparency, the majority of my closet is secondhand, and I'm not trying to offer secondhand shopping as this like poor person consolation prize.
But her saying that she thrifts her clothes is actually pretty misleading in this context because she's clearly shopping at very curated, expensive secondhand stores in New York City. She didn't find her Alexander McQueen blazer at a Goodwill. She's spending a lot of time and money on her clothes.
I went to James Valoria, which is one of my favorite like archival vintage stores.
She complains about overconsumption as she showcases a different outfit in almost every TikTok or video that she does. She's not really practicing what she preaches if she's overconsuming and telling her followers to not do the same as she rolls around in her mountain of designer clothing.
Vivienne Westwood's skirt.
So it's really hard to take her seriously when she's complaining about elitism in fashion.
I've seen a lot of criticism about how the old money aesthetic is built on racism and classism, and honestly, it's kind of true. And you know, my opinion is like, I do want the democratization of fashion. I think fashion has a very elitist problem.
How is she going to talk about billionaire brands gatekeeping when they're flying her out to Paris and giving her brand deals? She seems to understand the concept of the cost of skill and labor and the time it makes to produce things when she talks about this lace maker who handmade a set of lingerie for $1,000.
You're going to be blown away when you see a sustainable dress that costs $300. You're going to be like,
That's outrageous. That's overpriced.
but this is where I'm going to stop you, because overpriced implies that the garment is not priced fairly. Well, it is priced fairly. It then takes several days to sew the actual set and then is marked up appropriately to cover the costs of everything, but also because the designer wasn't working for free, so.
But then she gets amnesia when she's prancing around Paris on Dior's dime, as she talks about democratizing fashion, or when she says that people are entitled to luxury education.
It was very difficult, and still is very difficult, to build generational wealth in this country unless you were a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Roughly 42% of private institutions consider alumni connections as a factor in the admission process, even though it disproportionately benefits white applicants. At Harvard in 2019, the acceptance rate for legacy students was about 33%, very, very high compared to the overall acceptance rate of under 6%.
You don't have the right to luxury things. You can get a similar education for much less. Nobody is going to Harvard unless they can afford it or they're on a scholarship, regardless of their race. No account for how you have to pay for people's skills or their products there, but then she'll wag her finger at people saying, you better respect those brands that are paying me, okay?
There's been a lot of discussion lately about how TikTok ruined New York Fashion Week. People on TikTok were spreading around PR emails, PR contacts, and to millions of people, and these PR agents got so many requests. They were inundated with thousands of requests. These PR agents, they make note of who respects them and who respects the designer and who respects the media, and if you're not doing any of that, you are not going to come back.
She's talking as if she personally owns these brands and that this is a personal attack. And there's good reason for that. It's because she's on Dior's dime. It's all about democratizing fashion and screw elitism until it's the brands that she works with. Then you have to respect them.
If Dior is sponsoring someone who makes outfits like this, then anyone can make it. This outfit looks so tacky. The fur looks sticky. That's so disgusting. There is a difference between going thrifting and looking like you go thrifting, especially when she's going to these vintage, high-end stores of New York City. Just by looking at this outfit, the pungent smell of Goodwill is punching me in the face. I feel so crusty after looking at this. If you want to shop secondhand realistically, you can always go to eBay and go to their vintage section and sort by the cheapest. Or you can reverse image search something you saw that you like on Google, and by reverse image searching it, you can actually find the cheapest versions of it usually. I even do this myself. Lainey Ozark gives pretty good advice on how to find trendy items for cheap, so if you guys want to know more about that, you can check out her YouTube channel. She does a lot of secondhand shopping, and she also gives good advice on silhouettes and how to dress up trendy things. She's also a mom, so there's some maternity clothing advice as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is another video that actually took a while to research and really think about what I wanted to say, so I really do appreciate those of you who choose to share the video. And
if you would like to see future videos before everyone else, you can go to my Patreon and view the videos before they release publicly. Leave a like on the video, and thank you again to my producers Spectral Citizen and Gymtimidator. If you would like to become one, go to patreon.com/Brittany Venti. Thanks for watching, subscribe with the notification bell, and leave a like on the video.
bye-bye.